So I went onto the Facebook with Bob Pompiani. He's a news anchor over there. And according to him, this is what happened and I disagree with this a lot. Former Ryan, he says on his Facebook post, former Steeler Ryan Clark said on ESPN this morning, and says he's upset with what he's seeing in Pittsburgh, right? Ryan Clark said this, quote, "It's an end of an era of actually having a Super Bowl window, and this is a total organizational failure." Can you believe that? I can't believe it. We've lost 2 games, and he's already calling this an organizational failure. Mate, in some aspects, Ryan Clark, you were lucky to be a part of a Super Bowl team with Troy. You were good. You were good, mate. But you were lucky as well. You had the defense that was, in 2008 was one of the best defenses. You came from the Washington football team, formerly known as the Redskins, mate. So I don't know what you're talking about, saying this is an organizational failure. You were good for us, but you weren't great. Let's put it that way. It's the end of an era, and you basically saying you missed the Super Bowl window. We had some good chances back in 2016 with Brown, Bell, and the Killer Bees. Didn't happen. We got to the AFC Championship game, and it didn't happen near the end. So to call this team after 2 losses in 2021 because Ben's getting older and the offensive line looks different because everyone's new, an organizational failure is a joke. It is one big joke. I don't really like Ryan. I liked him as a player. He was okay. He was a hard thumping player he helped out Troy. He let Troy, run around the field and do what he wanted to do. But you had so many people in front of you, Ryan, and you won't see this, but it'd be cool if you did. But you had so many people in front of you. You had Farriel, Foote, you had James Harrison, you had Lamar Woodley when he was there, you had Big Snack Hampton, you had Kiesel. You had all these stars, these Steelers stars. So to call this an organizational failure, you were part of one of the best 2008 defenses, right? But you might have been the wagging wheel on that defense. You could have been. From all the players on that defense, even William Gay, I would probably rate higher than Ryan Clark. You were there at the safety to make sure that the bomb didn't go over the top when Troy ran around and did his thing. There were much more inspirational players on that 2008 defense than there were for yourself, Ryan. I've got a James Harrison, jersey. There are a lot of other players. Not saying you were a bad player, but to come out and put shit on your organization after you played for them, why would you do that after 2 games? So if that's not fuel to the fire for some of these players to really say, one of our former teammates, Ryan Clark, saying this about us, then I don't know what is. You catch his takes on some of his podcasts and some other things. He seems to be very wishy-washy. Sometimes he'll say things like this, saying we are a failure after 2 games. And that's even for a coach who you played for, he was really good with Mike Tomlin and Keith Butler there and stuff like that. So how do you come out and say that? I was shocked when I saw that. I really was like, Ryan, you're making your bed, mate. And not saying he's a fair weather fan, but a lot of the fair weather fans now are jumping off the shit and saying the season's over. It's not over. It's not over. It's only 1 and 2. There's so many more games to go. But I just thought that was interesting that we have wasted the Super Bowl window and we're in a total organizational failure. So Ryan Clark, I just want to say, mate, last words. You weren't the best one on the 2008 defense. I could name 10 other players, I probably already did, that were in front of you. So you weren't the best. You weren't the best guy there. So maybe you were lucky to be a part of the Steelers. You helped us out, but maybe you were lucky. So I don't know how you can throw rocks in a glass house or whatever. You're doing that, mate. That's interesting, and I'm going to go into the comment and see what some other fans are saying because Ryan Clark was okay. But why are you throwing shade on the Steelers, mate? It's only 1 and 2. If we come out and beat the Packers, then we're back to 2 and 2. And then you'll probably flip the script and say, well, we have a chance. Or, you'll go into, if we end up having a good season in the end, you'd be like, this is one of the best Steelers seasons I've seen. They come from hard times. So I don't know. It's just my thoughts and what I think of, comments like that. But that's the day and age we live in with social media, even to a certain extent. I can have this platform
wins when I was there. My son wanted to be Tyler Boyd when he was in high school. And so for him to say this about a team he grew up watching, a team he grew up cheering for, a team he understands what type of legacy they have, it's embarrassing. For him to feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers quit, and they didn't quit playing against a team with a legacy of championships. They quit against the Cincinnati Bengals. They quit against someone who was thought of as the bottom dwellers. Well, guess who's in the bottom now? The Pittsburgh Steelers. And other people are saying that you aren't even finishing games. That's an issue. And that's an issue you need to fix right now, or Coach Tomlin needs to shift some people out.
Oh, man. The Steelers, by the way, traveling to Green Bay to take on the Packers this Sunday. And take on that Packers.
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, the show goes on with the Ryan Clark mess, with the calling out the organization being a total failure. And more comments coming out now with Tyler Boyd, the Cincinnati receiver, saying that the Steelers quit. I do apologize for my, I guess this video is going to be very choppy and I haven't got the best editing skills just yet, but I wanted to get out the message. So the message from 2 days ago was Ryan Clark called out our Steelers and said that we're an organizational failure. I just wanted to say to Ryan Clark, I really don't trust what he says to on these NFL Lives, and maybe why it's made me up. So, it's arced me up so much and be a little bit angry about this kind of stuff. He's defending now Tyler Boyd's comments and how, the Cincinnati Bengals, or he says that the Steelers quit. How can the Cincinnati Bengals or Tyler Boyd, a Pittsburgh native, he say that? He said he did like the comments. That I'll address the comment first from Tyler Boyd. He says the Steelers started to quit near the end of the game and then didn't show any heart or whatever. That might be true, but how do you say that from being a Cincinnati Bengal perspective, knowing that you haven't been to the playoffs in a few years, you haven't won in the playoffs in 11,000 days, your Cincinnati Bengal team is the cellar dweller of the NFL, and you're only starting to rise just now. These words will come back to bite you in the second rematch versus the Steelers for sure. Ryan Clark is on the NFL Live, so the Steelers will figure that out with Tyler Boyd in the next matchup. You can't say things. We have 6 championships. We have a lot of success in this team, and we have 2 bumpy roads, 2 speed humps, and we all of a sudden are a failure of an organization and backed up by Boyd. So are Ryan Clark and Tyler Boyd working together? I don't know. It just seems like we've lost 2 games and now we're the talk of the town being the worst of the worst team. And there's still a lot of teams out there that are really bad and been through the ringer on certain occasions with the Bengals and laughable seasons with them. So, Tyler Boyd as well, mate, like you'll get yours in the next game too. You say these comments after 1 win, the Steelers are going to come to your house in a few weeks' time and we'll see what happens. Now, with Ryan Clark backing up what he said from the day before, calling the Steelers organization a failure, and he agrees with what Tyler Boyd says. Man, I think you've written your bet off as you're an analyst now with the NFL. At the same time, where's the pride that you used to show with your Steelers team? Hey, there's nothing there. Just because the Steelers now have lost two games in a row, you're writing them off completely. You're calling the team a joke. You're calling the team a failure to the organization. You're agreeing with a Cincinnati Bengal who is dissing the team. Where's your your legacy towards the team? Like there's no way that you're going to go into the Hall of Fame, and probably even the Ring of Honor with the Steelers. Like I said in the previous video, and this video has all been kind of edited, so I do apologize, but the message is clear. Ryan Clark, you weren't one of the best Steelers that we've ever had. You were part of a great defense, a great 2008 defense that, led us to the Super Bowl and did some amazing things. And now that you have the platform and I've been watching your stuff for a while, and you've always been, teetering around being anti-Steeler. Your colors are really showing now. Hey, they really are. Your team colors, your team colors for the NFL trying to create a stir are really showing that as the Steelers lose 2 games, you have to put shit on them near the end. Like, I really hope we win this game versus the Packers, because I would love to see how you wishy-washy again and you come back on the other side. You jump and go, well, Big Ben's starting to get it back. Najee's starting to run the ball better. This offensive line is getting better. After 2 games, you're just going to go straight into hatred mode and say this organization is a failure. I still can't get over it. I really can't. This video is going to end very shortly, and it's just going to be about calling out Ryan Clark. No one's really going to see. Only a few people will see it, but I had to get it off my chest because it's so crazy how do you play for the Pittsburgh Steelers for so long and have the, win Super Bowls with them under Dick LeBeau, with Mike Tomlin, and one of the greatest defenses we've ever had with our Steelers. And, you do those kind of takes. Maybe you just do it for a hot take. But it's crazy to me that you really think that this organization is a failure and we're going to go for the number 1 draft pick. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, everyone go check out what Ryan Clark did say about the Steelers. It really ticked me off. And it's only a sport thing. It's only to do with, sport life, I guess. Nothing to do with effect with my personal life. But still, it's just a really funny comment. And then Tyler Boyd's comment as well, it backs it up and says, well, the Steelers gave up. It's 3 weeks in. And by the time the Steelers were dropping those passes, they're already down 14 points. The game was pretty much over. And there are plenty other times where I've seen the Bengals give up. And they have been beaten 7 times in a row in the playoffs. And they haven't won a playoff game for 31 years. Just to say these comments is quite a lot of talk. It's just as bad as disrespecting the terrible towel and throwing that in the mud. So I can't wait until the Steelers start to pick it up and start to win, because Ryan Clark will eat his words. And he did say it. The organizational failure. That's a big word. And you played for the team. And there's just no respect. There's no respect playing for the team. This team, this city, this worldwide Steeler Nation is huge, and we have a great community. And for guys like Ryan Clark to say that is crazy. And one last thing I want to say to end the video. James Harrison came out and had a podcast with Behind the Steel Curtain. And I listened today on Spotify. And he said, man, we ain't done yet. The Steelers ain't done. Like this, you go through hard times, you win a few games, you lose a few. We ain't done. There's no way. So even James Harrison, who's had his ups and downs with the business, being a Steeler, being a Bengal, he's been a Patriot. He knows, like he's a true Steeler at heart, and he's given him a chance. He's not going to write him off. And he's had more problems with the organization than Ryan Clark has. But to Ryan Clark to come out and say the Steelers organization is a failure. Crazy comments. I really can't get over it. Thanks everyone for listening. This video is real chop and changey. I got to try, and if I go into this further, I really got to try and look into an editing software or something like that. Maybe you guys in the comments can help me out. I don't know. Basically, the premise is, Ryan Clark, you're wrong. I'm calling you out. You're not. Why don't you just rip up your Steeler fan card, mate? Steeler player card. There's no point saying what you're saying. And Tyler Boyd, mate, we're coming for you as well. The next time the Steelers versus the Bengals, it's going to be a very hard matchup for you. I really do think so. Talk is talk, man, and talk is cheap. So, we've got to put it on the field and see what happens. Thanks, guys. See you later.